What's up guys? In today's video what we are going to do is that we are going to start handling the data that we introduce here. Here in the previous video what we did is that we actually created a register form. Here this form with this card which is beautiful, but yeah, this doesn't do anything. So for example, let me remove the password. If I put here whatever and I press register, here yeah, I have what I've put, the password and all that, but this is not doing anything and this logic does not work well. So here we are just going to handle the information of the, let me update the password, the information of the register page. So yeah guys, how do we actually manage to get whatever is here, and whatever is here? Okay, before that, what we are going to do is that we are going to add here a login button that will allow us to move to login, the login page. And here we are going to make every field required, because check this out. If I press here, it doesn't say anything that here you didn't put a name. So let's fix all this. First of all, what we are going to do is that we are going to come here, and here we are going to put register. This was in Spanish, sorry. Register, and here what I'm going to put is that I'm going to create another button that says login. Check this out. Here this does not look very well. So what I'm going to do is that here I'm going to put style, and I'm going to put margin right, and let's put here 5. Okay, now we have a margin, but I don't want this to look the exact same. So for example, we have two options. So for example, here I can put outline primary, and check how it changed, it looks better. Or for example, I can put outline secondary. Okay, now the color is different, or I can leave it just secondary. It depends on you. Remember that here you have all the information. If we come here to buttons, you have here all the options. So for example, the way I like it is outline primary. That's it. Okay, so how do we now, okay, I think that I've written this, okay, yeah, wrong, primary. Okay, so how now do I make this to be required? It is super simple, guys. It is just coming here and putting required. That's right. So here we are giving this prop required, and here as well in all the fields. So check this out. If I press here, pom, the browser tells me that, hey, you have to put here something before. So if I put this here, now it works. Here we have all the information. Perfect. So now let's try to handle the data of the form. And basically, whenever we press here, that we execute a function that we want. So for example, here, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to put const handle submit. Okay. So here, this handle submit is going to receive an event, and you can see that whenever we press here register, it updates the page, like it goes again to the page. Check this out. If I press here, okay, check this, I press enter, boom, it takes us to a page. We don't want this. We want that it is always here in the page. So what we can do is that, okay, from this event, we are going to call prevent default. That's right. And here we are going to take the handle submit, and we are going to put it in the form. So for example, here we put on submit, and we are going to put handle submit. Check this out. If I press now, okay, we have to put a name, enter, it is not doing anything. So for example, here, let me remove all this. Okay, now let's put a name, register, and it is not doing anything. Indeed, what I can do is that I can inspect here to see the data that I receive, and I can put, for example, log2. And if I press, boom, we have here that message. But how do we get this information? The name, the email, and the password. How do we actually do this? It is something very simple. We are going to create our first custom hook. So to create our first custom hook, what we have to do is that we have to create a new folder, because remember we have here component, context, routes, and now we are going to create a new one which is going to be called hooks. Perfect. So now here we are going to create a new folder, which is going to be for forms, because we are going to have 4 hooks, but we may have several hooks related to forms. So here, forms, and inside forms, we are going to have the use form hook. Okay, first of all, I have to give credit to this guy, Fernando Herrera. I did his course, and yeah, it's this one. I did his React course, and from his React course is where I learned this hook. So yeah, I have to give him credit to this guy, which is really amazing. Okay, so this hook, what we are actually going to do is that we are going to say, okay, export const use form, and here we are going to have an initial state, which is going to be the initial values of the field. So for example, here we're going to have initial state, which is going to be an empty object by default. If it doesn't receive anything, it is not going to have anything. Perfect. And now we are going to have a state, which is something like a variable. So here we put state. Remember, it is something like a variable, but we have 2 parts. The actual value, here we are going to have values, and the function that sets those values. Here, what we are going to have is the initial state. That's right, perfect. So now we are going to have several functions that modify this state. So the first one, we are going to create here a function called reset, which is going to reset the values to the initial ones. So for example, this can be useful if, for example, yeah, we want to reset all the form. So yeah. So here we are going to set values, and we are going to put here the initial state. That's right. Also, what we are going to do is that now we are going to call handle, we are going to create a function that is going to be called const handle input change. Check the name. We are going to handle whenever one input changes. Whenever we put here a word, we are going to handle this change. So yeah, here what I'm actually going to do is that we are going to put here target, because yeah, the way this works is that did you check before here that I was receiving an E? This is called an event. So this event contains a lot of things, and one of the things that it has is the target. So for example, if we are actually editing this target has the information of the element of the name. That's why it was so important that in the previous video here we had this variable, this name set, because now from that information we have that, okay, we are editing the name, so we have to edit the value of the name. How do we actually do this? Okay, we are going to say, okay, set values, and check this out. We can directly set the value here, but let's say that we need these values and we do not have them. So for example, what we can do is that here we can put a callback. So here I can put values C of callback, and here I'm going to create the callback. So for example, here what I can do is that I can return the same object. Okay, we are going to take all the values that we receive here. And also another reason is because this object that you have here may not be updated. Here you have the last version of your object that it has been edited. So here, okay, we destructure the values that we have in the object, but we want to edit the one that we received here in the target. Okay, so the one that we received here in the target, we check the name. Remember, now we are accessing this, the name, which is in this case name, or in this case email, okay, and we say, okay, edit, for example, the email, and set from the target the value that it has. Okay, and that's it, guys. So here we are going to return, and we are going to put here values, handle input change, and the reset function. Okay, so now what we are going to do is that we are going to use this hook. So we are going to put here use form. Okay, we import it, and we have to set now the initial state. Okay, let's check what we have. We have the name, so we are going to put here name, and the initial value is going to be an empty string. We have here also the email, the initial value is going to be an empty string, and we have here also the password, and the initial value is going to be an empty string. One thing, the placeholder is only shown whenever there is not something. So the placeholder is going to be shown when we have here an empty string. Okay, so now here we are going to destructure the values that we return in the hook. So for example, we have here values, which are the values, and the function handle input change. We are not going to use the reset, handle input change. But from the values, now we have name, email, and password, but we don't want it this way. So for example, we can destruct this again, so that now what we have is name, email, and password. And these are actually variables that we can use. So for example, let's put here a print, a console log. We are going to come here and we are going to put all this. And okay, we have an error. Use state is not defined. Let me come here and let me import use state from React. That's right, now it is working fine. And check this out. Here you can see this. If I put this and I press register, boom, we don't have that. Okay, that's why. This is because I forgot to do some important things. Okay, now we have to use the function and we have to set the values. How? In the form controls, what we have to do is that, okay, the value here is going to be value. And for example, if we are editing the name and we are saving that here in this variable, we are going to put it here in the name. So from value, we are going to put name, this variable. And now on change, if I'm not wrong, yeah, on change, we are going to call this function that we created. That's it. Okay, now we are going to take all this and we are copy and paste here in all our form controls. And here, instead of name, it is email because we are editing the email. And it is very important, guys, that this name, well, this name and this name, for example, name and email and password, is the exact same thing that we have here. So here and here, we should have the exact same thing. Perfect. And here we are going to put password. Okay, this is wrong password. Yeah, perfect. So now check this out. Okay, let me refresh the page so we don't have errors. If I put here whatever, okay, we are having here a mistake. A component is changing control input to be controlled. This is like it caused by the value changing from undefined and defined, which should not happen. So it is taking an undefined somewhere, and I do not know where. Okay, guys, I see the error here. It is not val, it is value. Okay. Okay, so let's update the page. Okay, and now check that out. That doesn't appear. So if I put here whatever, check this out. Whenever I press register, since I am printing that in the handle submit page, here in the handle submit function, sorry, here we have what I've written. We have the email, the name, and the password. If I change this now, I press register, boom. We have here that the password changed. If I put here 11111, I press register, we have that now. So that's how we take here the data from the form. It is as simple as this. So yeah, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if so, give it a like, share, subscribe, and we see each other in the next one.